What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. So I am back in Connecticut, up at school. Don't have access to the studio right now. There's actually an issue with it going on right now, but I'm hoping by next week I can get in there. Next week I'm only going to do a podcast Monday and Tuesday. I'm actually going back home for a little doing something fun back in New York. So hopefully by at least Monday of next week, the issue is fixed with the studio, and I can use that starting next week. But that's completely out of my hands. I have no control over that. So we just kind of have to hope. So that's all we can do. But so for now, we're still doing it over Zoom. But I am going to try and do this podcast. Hopefully, want to do it for Friday. Once I start my internship, it might be a little tougher. But at least for June, I'll be only doing it on the weekends. So that shouldn't be too hard to do. But we are still going to try and get a show. But actually, we're getting a caller. RedBox is going to call in. So we haven't heard from RedBox in a while. So I haven't even started yet. We'll see what direction RedBox wants to go in. How's it going, RedBox?
I assume you probably know why I'm coming up here today.
I think so.
History has been made. Well, I don't know. I guess Edmonton's going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's right. Yeah, they they obviously take Game 5, and then they won Game 6 2-1 last night. They got outshot 35-10, but no problem because they still won.
I actually had to turn the game off at the end of the first period, but apparently I didn't miss much.
Yeah, they went up 2-0 early, and then Dallas outplayed them in the next two periods, but just Skinner played really well, and Dallas scored with like 10 minutes to go in the third period, but they couldn't quite get another goal. And they have M's only had 10 shots on goal, but they hung on for the win.
The third, but it looked like Edmonton had it in the bag by that point, so I was like, But yeah, I mean, I don't. The first team not named to the Montreal Canadiens, which I mean, you know, I'm a Leafs fan, so they don't count in my eyes. We're from Canada. Could go to the Stanley Cup in how long now?
Yeah, obviously Toronto hasn't done it since God knows when.
15 years, I think. It's the first time a non-Montreal Canadian team's gone. I think no, Vancouver.
Vancouver did in like, what was it, 2012 or something?
Vancouver, yeah.
So that was the last, I think.
Montreal in '93, so I don't like Edmonton's chances against Florida, but I said the same thing with Dallas. So
yeah, I thought Dallas would win this series as well. Like Edmonton obviously is phenomenal offensively. They're also very top heavy. Like they're a two-line team. Those two lines are some of the two best lines in hockey, but at the end of the day, they're not very deep offensively. And Skinner's not a great goalie, but he's played well lately. So if he holds up, maybe they have a shot, but who knows?
Their goaltending, that's what makes me. And then Florida has Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'll be cheering for him. Starts on Friday.
Yeah, that's when Game 1 is. Yeah, obviously Florida beat my Rangers, which was disappointing for me. But
why aren't you putting it on Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada?
That's surprising. That's surprising. I don't like the big gap. Like, and also, and the NBA Finals doesn't start till Thursday. So we haven't had basketball in a few days, and we gotta wait another like 4 nights for that. And now we don't have the Cup final until
break. The break in the NBA was even longer. Actually,
yeah.
I think.
I mean, obviously the Boston Indiana series was Boston swept them, which wasn't expected. I mean, Indiana was supposed to be there in the first place, and then the Dallas and Minnesota only went to 5 games. Those are 2 series that we thought would probably go at least 6. They only went 4 and 5. So, like,
for the few who actually doesn't think Boston is going to.
I'm picking Dallas, honestly. This to me, I don't think Dallas to me is it matches up pretty well against Boston. They're playing really well right now. I still don't trust the Celtics. I'm picking Dallas.
I'm not picking at Dallas, but I don't
Mhm.
think Boston's sweeping them out either.
No.
Boston stinks.
Okay.
I think, I mean, Luka kind of carries that team, to be
Yeah.
fair. But I mean, Boston, we'll see how healthy everyone is. They've had a week to rest up. I know they had some injury issues in the conference finals.
Yeah, they haven't had Porzingis in a while though. Apparently he's coming back for the finals. But
Boston is
yeah,
more difficult, but not impossible by any means, I don't think.
it to me like I don't know if Boston has a player that can guard Luka. I know a lot of people are going to say Tatum. I wouldn't be so sure. And then I just look. Jaylen Brown's been great this year. He's had a great postseason, but I still have the image of him just having like 9 turnovers, whatever it was in Game 7 against Miami last year. I still have the image of Tatum just clearly being hurt, but trying to play through it in Game 7 last year against Miami, and just getting blowing out at home. I they have been able to get it done. Obviously, this year they're a better team. You bring in Drew Howard, they brought in Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
But and obviously Dallas we didn't think would be in the finals. We thought it would be Denver or Minnesota, but it obviously ended up being Dallas. But they're playing really well. Kyrie Irving has played very well, and you got other guys like PJ Washington and Lively and Gabbert. They have good size. They've played well enough defensively, but I think it'll be a good series. But it depends what Boston Celtics team we get, I guess.
I mean, I think Boston's a fairly heavy favorite. It's not the final I wanted.
Mm.
The whole NBA playoffs, honestly, have just been incredibly underwhelming on all fronts.
The series a lot of series have gone shorter than they should have.
And they haven't been exciting games, bar a few notable exceptions.
Yeah.
Like, I just haven't been able to get into it.
Like the Knicks series in the first round was a good series. Pretty much every game was very close. Like Boston, Indiana was exciting. Obviously, Indiana blew the lead in every single game, so it made for an exciting finish. But that was you also only got 4 games of it. And like Minnesota and Denver was a good series, but there was a couple blowouts in that series as well. And just
like all the earlier series that were exciting were on when there was 2 or more times exciting series in the NHL playoffs.
Well, the NHL playoffs have a much better playoffs than the NBA. Like NHL playoffs is more exciting than NBA playoffs always has and always will be. That's just the way it is. But yeah, I know what you mean. If you have a choice between, obviously if your team's not in it, and you have a chance to watch an NHL playoff game or an NBA playoff game around the same time, you might watch the NHL game because their playoffs overall is better than the NBA's. But yeah, the NBA playoffs, there's been a lot of unexpectedness. Indiana going to the Eastern Conference Final, Denver losing in the second round, Dallas going to the finals. So it's been a little chaotic, but a lot of the series have just been. It's like, oh wow, I didn't think that this team was going to win, but it was a 5-game series. Like it wasn't that. That's we're supposed to got 7 games out of it.
A Boston Denver final.
That's what I thought was going to happen, but obviously it didn't because they lost in the second round.
But yeah, this one won't be bad. It's not going to be a barn burner, I don't think either.
Yeah, I mean, last year's final wasn't great between Denver and Miami. It was just so lopsided. But I don't think we'll get that. But I also think we're getting like Cleveland Golden State in 2016 either.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting that either.
I think it's going to be very, very in the middle in terms of the pyramid of NBA finals over the past 10, 20, 30 years.
Probably. Obviously Boston is very well rested, but Dallas is as well. Boston really hasn't faced anybody. They faced Miami without Jimmy Butler. They faced Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell the last 2 games and Jared Allen. They faced Indiana. Didn't have Halliburton for the last 2 games. Knicks were healthy. I think the Knicks would have won.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Obviously I'm biased, but either way, Indiana wasn't expected to be there. So even with
I think the Knicks 100% would have taken out Indiana if they hadn't been completely deflated.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So like the Boston's gotten a really easy road to the finals. Dallas has been a little harder. They had the Clippers in the first round, win 6. Then you got in the conference semis, they got who was it? Denver played Minnesota.
I would have called the Clippers hard. I don't know.
I mean, we all knew they were losing the first round, but like they're good enough to maybe force a 6 or 7 game in the first round. But for a team that's got that many stars, they should probably be in the finals. But we all knew that was not going to happen.
So we're in their golden days.
Yeah, that team's ancient. Harden's old. Westbrook's old. Kawhi's getting older, and he's always hurt.
Play half the games he's healthy anyway.
Yeah.
Who knows at this point?
I mean, he averages 23 and 8, and he plays elite defense when he's healthy. But he's just the guy can't stay on the court.
And then he just sits half the season.
I know.
Too. Like I shouldn't be allowed load management.
Yeah, they had the new rule this year. Like you got to play 65 games to qualify for an award. You can't rest 2 All-Stars at the same time. But still, like there's still ways around. You can still rest, 1 All-Star. But yeah, I mean, like even in the 2019 year with the Raptors, they rested him like 15 times. He only played like 66 games a year. I mean, he was coming off a major quad injury. And even with missing the games by the playoffs, he was hobbling up and down the court, but he still obviously had an incredible playoff run. But yeah, like the guy's always done that. Now we gotta get no punts up in here. We gotta get people calling in today.
He up and left like we all thought he would.
What's up, no punts?
Well, you guys mentioned Kawhi Leonard, and my hot take is Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers and free agency, the worst free agency decision ever made by a player.
He should stay in Toronto. It's certainly up there. To me, it's got to be because I would stay in Toronto if I was him.
Yeah, I mean the only other one that comes to mind is Griffey Jr. going to the Reds.
That one was pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That one was pretty.
With the free agent, they could have gone anywhere and go to the most maybe snake bitten franchise in the history of sports.
Wow. Hey, no punts. Long time no see.
Yeah, no, I was cool to see. I was gonna see if you guys were gonna talk any French Open.
I'd be down, but
I saw Djokovic one. I'm hoping he can win the French Open.
Playing terribly this French Open. I'm shocked. I mean,
do you think Alcaraz is the favorite then, RedBox?
No. More Sinner. I think Sinner.
Wait, Sinner? Was he Italian?
Yeah, Yannick Sinner.
Really?
Alcaraz is. I've watched a considerable amount of both Djokovic and Alcaraz. Djokovic just looks out of sorts. I can't really place it. I think he's just getting old.
Yeah, I think he just.
I mean, yeah, the guy is pushing. He's what, 36 years old?
I think he's 37.
He's 37. He's not a young guy.
He's a generational talent. He's just not experienced enough yet. And
well, hold on.
I mean, he did beat Djokovic like within the last year.
He's young, and we give his game some more time to develop more firmly. I think he's going to be the next Djokovic.
I think so too.
I think he already is.
I think it's too early to say that.
I mean, he did. I mean, he beat Novak in one of the best tennis matches I've ever watched. What was it? Last year or earlier this year, and whenever it was. Yeah, last year at Wimbledon. So yeah. So he already has a Wimbledon. He's still really young. He got the number. He became the number one player in the world by doing that, and much still is. But
Clay is a whole different game, though. Clay is just completely different from any other surface you could play on.
I agree. I mean, obviously his game's really. I think he'll be a heavy favorite for Wimbledon.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
100%.
I won't give credit to Nadal though. I know he lost in the first round and kind of hard luck, but he looked decent. I mean, he didn't look bad.
He said that after the match, like, don't assume it's my last French Open, which a lot of people were thinking it was his last one. So maybe he's not retiring as soon as we think.
Go out. I don't know. I think he will be done after this season. He says he's feeling better, but I mean, Nadal is getting up there too. I don't know how long. I don't know how much longer he can sustain 5-set matches. Like I just
like Novak's 37 himself, but Novak is still arguably the best player in the world. He's won a major in the last year. He was the runner-up at Wimbledon this past year. Nadal hasn't won in a little while. He just lost in the first round of the French Open, where he's been historically great at. He's had so many injuries. I don't know how much the guy has left.
Well, he's all with all the injuries Nadal's had to contend with in the past 2-3 years. I just don't know if you can come back from that and be what you were even 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he should play the Olympics, and then he should really consider hanging up the racket.
I thought he put on a great show. I mean, he looked good, and if he's healthy, I don't know if he can still win majors, but he can still be competitive at the French Open.
But that's the thing. He wants. If he's gonna continue playing, he wants to be at a level where he can win majors. It's Nadal we're talking.
It's one of those things where it's like, if I'm Nadal, he feels like the kind of guy. If I can't go out there and be the best, I'm not gonna go out there at all. I don't blame him by any means. Exactly. He's what? Is there 3 male tennis players better than him all time? Besides,
easily.
Yeah.
I'd say he's up there with Djokovic.
Yeah, like he's Djokovic and Federer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Federer may have removed himself from that group in his latter years, but
I don't think that.
I don't know if he removed himself from the group entirely.
With being top 3, I mean, he's still like one of the greatest of all time, but I don't know if he's top 3.
So maybe Dave Federer is number 1. He's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
I'd say Djokovic, then Nadal, then there's a whole group of players that could argue for that last spot, I would say. 5 years ago, I would have said Murray's in that group. He is clearly not.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know why he's still playing. As much as I love watching him play, I don't know why he's still playing.
Yeah, he's.
Love watching Murray play. Like, I look tired just watching him play.
Oh my God, he'd be sweating his ass off. He worked. Yeah.
He's playing with an artificial hip. I mean, that alone.
Yeah, like once in a while, tune to ESPN and I'll like, oh yeah, Andy Murray's playing. I'm like, that guy's still playing? Jesus. Probably can still move up and down across the court.
I also just hate like the French Open. I hate how they have their TV broadcast deal set up. I like when I can just go on ESPN Plus and I have all the courts there. They're all labeled. It's on like Tennis Channel. I don't know. It's just not as good, but not as easy to find everything.
But yeah, the French Open's going on. We're on Talk to Jake, talking to RedBox, and and no punts. French Open is currently underway. Novak is still trying to get his 25th major, which would be the most all time for any tennis player, male or female, ever.
Actually, he is on court right now against Sorrentino. He won the first set, 5-4 down in the second, I would assume on serve.
Yeah, so as it's about noon Eastern time, but at the time that we're talking right now, like RedBox said, he cruised in the first set, but he's down 5-4 in the second set right now to Cerundolo in the round of 16 right now. And he does have and he is serving right now.
I kind of figured.
Yeah, we have
RedBox, I got a question. Like, so when you're watching tennis, are you really in tune to the sound of the balls and the racket? Like, can you
if I'm watching it on my own, I listen to it on the radio. But if I'm watching it with other people, yeah, I've really got to pay attention to the. It's hard. It's difficult. And I have this other blind friend who does it, and he's like really good. He can tell just by the sound.
Wow.
When it's a drop shot or if it's a passing shot, like it amazes me. And he's like
crazy.
and make it even more remarkable, he's like half deaf.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Like I can tell the really obvious ones. Like I can tell sometimes how much effort a player had to expend to get to the ball, but like he can tell like 3 or 4 different kinds of shots just from the sound of it, and like you'll know because you'll hear him reacting to the point in real time, and then when the commentator comes on after, it basically validates every reaction he had. It's so strange. It's impressive as hell.
That's crazy.
Well, I think tennis has a unique soundtrack, and I was privy to it. Tennis is my father's favorite sport, so he was constantly watching that shit, and it came on early in the morning. And so, like, I, as a teenager, like, wake up and hear that sound of that ball, and then back when they had live, you don't hear that as much anymore.
They still do at the French Open.
Okay, yeah, they're still reluctant to use. They're still using line people. I think it's the only major left doing that.
Yeah. And they're abandoning it next year, I think.
Oh, they are? Okay, good.
I believe so. Finally. Umpires in baseball, where they need to go, you can use AI for that.
I mean, Angel Hernandez has already got. Let's see if I was hoping he would take Laz and the CD with him.
AI for umpires in baseball. Don't you want the strike zone to get big when it's a blowout and it's late in the game?
Yeah.
You want it. You want to say, oh, it's 10-0 in the 9th inning on like Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and both teams have to fly out today. So,
you could program whatever situation you wanted.
But they wouldn't. I mean, that would hurt the dignity of the game.
Also, umpires are part of the game. Like referees are part of the game. You just get rid of them.
In terms of calling balls and strikes, I think you absolutely should and can. Because, I mean, you get refs like Hernandez, who just retired, whose strike zone is just so wildly different.
Well, Angel's a different breed. Angel's just beyond awful. Like, he couldn't umpire a Little League game. I don't know.
I've never heard an umpire referee become so famous.
Because he's just so bad.
Baseball traditionalists are one of the banes of my existence. They absolutely, I do not, like, they were against these pace of play reforms. That now there's some stupid rules, the ghost runner on second. I don't really understand that. But like everything else has been so good for the game, and you can see it in how it's cut down on playing time. Games flow better now. Why not keep making changes that would clearly improve the game?
Yeah, like the pitch clock at first, I was like, I don't know, but also that's worked out very well. I don't like the three batter minimum rule. I don't get why that needs to be put in. I don't get the ghost runner. I got it during the pandemic year because that was such a screwed up year. Because you had a very short spring training and you basically start the season in basically August. Like
Yeah, and we had a discussion about this. I think the last time I was on the Ghost Runner or one of them. And I think I don't think that was ever even sold as a pandemic reform. It was sold as a permanent reform, which I mean,
Yeah.
This is why you test things out in the minors first. And I don't understand how they thought in the minors it worked.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think it's good that we can test things out.
Yeah.
And so we have so many minor leagues to do it with.
Exactly.
What I think 6 levels and probably 3 times the league. So if you want to test different rules out at different levels, you can do that.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you can start by testing out in like low A ball, and if it works, like okay, you can like keep testing out in like higher level leagues like double A.
You can throw it in like the fall league.
Yeah, like the rookie ball, like start it there, and if it works, you're like if it works there, all right, then get to like the lower levels of the minor leagues, and if it works there, now get to the higher levels of the minor leagues, and at that point, if it continually works and the minor league players are able to adjust to it quickly, and then the major players certainly will. So, it's a good way to test out rules. But like, yeah, like it was weird. Like, so they had it in there during the COVID. They kept it in there. Then when we had the lockout, it looked like they were going to get rid of it, and they didn't. And it seems like every year, it seems like I feel like there's a conversation to get rid of it, and every year ends with, "Oh no, we're just going to keep it." So at this point, I don't think it's going away. I mean, does it shorten games? Yeah, but like to me, like a guy hits a home run on the first pitch, and it's 2 runs to start the inning. Yeah, and also you need to score like at least 2 runs in like the top of the 10th inning, otherwise it's very hard to hold a lead.
No, but like no other sport has a rule like it. No other professional sport has a rule like it. I mean,
maybe you have the 4-on-4 in overtime.
3-on-3 overtime in the regular season.
3-on-3, yeah, but like.
Also, the overtime's 5 minutes. Then we go. Then it's a shootout. I think it's exciting.
It makes the game more exciting, and
yeah.
I mean, it's not giving an advantage
to either side.
I mean, because I think college football overtime's silly too. I don't like that overtime.
It's exciting if nothing else. It's not like the concept itself is kind of silly, but if nothing else, it's exciting.
At least in college football, both teams are guaranteed a shot.
Yeah.
See, that's
the NFL is now.
I mean, now they both are, but they got also in college they start on the edge of the red zone. The NFL, you got to go the whole field.
Oh yeah, I guess they did change it in the NFL, but like I don't know, the college football. I mean, it's like I guess it's kind of like a shootout. Which yeah.
That's the thing with the NFL overtime that I like. Now more games are finishing in overtime because it's 3-on-3. You get those like 2-on-1s a lot more often. There's so much more open ice. And the shootout to me isn't that exciting.
I'm all for increasing scoring in extra innings. There's just ways to do it and ways not to. Overtime, there's just ways to do it and ways not to do it.
And I get like the strategy, like, oh, do you bump the guy to third? Do you if a slow runner is on second, do you put in a pinch runner? And the things with the matchups, like maybe that part adds another layer to it, but like this, it to me, it's almost like a amateur baseball rule, and we're doing it in the major leagues. Like if you want to do it in like little league or even maybe high school baseball, fine. But even like once you get to like Division I baseball, that should not be a rule to me. To me, it's silly. It's silly. You shouldn't have to. If it's scoreless going into the bottom of the 10th, you need 1 hit to win the game. Like, and I'm not saying obviously a home run always wins the game. Obviously, if the game is tied in bottom of the 10th inning, but like a single leading off the bottom of the 10th inning should win you the game.
Yeah, a single with the runner from second reaching for home should not decide a game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I get it. Like I get it. Like in Little League, maybe high school baseball, but like not in the major leagues.
But like in those games too, like I mean, a lot of those games are 7 innings already. Anyway.
Yeah. So I get it for like if it's like a youth baseball league and the fields aren't the best fields in the world and the game doesn't start till
try not to kill your players.
you're trying not to run a 12-year-old into the ground before he grows into his body. If you can't play past 9 o'clock, I think it's too dark and there's no lights and the lights suck at the stadium. It's not.
In some local park.
Exactly. Like I get that, but like college baseball, Division I baseball, Major League Baseball, where like you got billion-dollar organizations. They have these just incredibly extravagant ballparks, lights, everything. You don't need to shorten games like that.
Where it's baseball for the purpose of playing pro baseball.
Exactly. Yeah. Like for example, this isn't baseball, but IMG Academy is a high school football school. Like the whole point, like the kids are go to that school not to like get an education. They go there because they want to play in the NFL. If it's a baseball school like that, high school like that, yeah, you don't need the rule. Like, might as well start preparing them now. That's the whole idea.
Disrespectful to the players, disrespectful to the game, to the work that players put in. It's an easy way out, I think, and it's just I mean, if it's not to end games faster, if they say there's no advantage, then what's the point of it?
Exactly.
If they say there's no advantage, like why?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have it. They don't have it in the playoffs, but like, but also that goes back to your point, RedBox. Like, if you don't have it in the playoffs because you think, there's no reason to speed up the game. There's no reason to just give anybody advantage again. Why do you have the rule in place then? Like, I don't get it. I never get it. Honestly, I kind of got it during the 2020 year. It was such a wacky year. They were lucky that you can get the season in. But every other year, it's been a normal 162 game season, starting on time, ending on time. Really, no COVID provisions in place. Don't get it at all.
Yeah, I'm shocked we had a 2020 season also, but
yeah.
What was it, 42 game season or something?
It was like 60 games, I think.
60 game season, yeah. It was like basically a season of rookie ball for the pros.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, part of the reason because they couldn't agree on like, should we have prorated salaries? Of course, the owners wanted that, the players wanted full salary. The owners wanted like prorated salaries, and it was very, very, very ridiculous. But like they still wouldn't have played more than probably like 90 games. Like
yeah, you couldn't though. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, like they wouldn't have been able to get more than half the season in anyway, but 60 games, like come on. Like that's why like it's hard to take the Dodgers like championship seriously. Like it's nothing to do, it's not their fault, but like it was a 60 game season. Like for
not really enough time to establish.
Yeah, like the season is normally 162 games. Like it's not like the NBA where all right, if it's 20 games less, like okay. Like the NBA the following year did a 72 game season. It was 10 games less. Like, okay, it's not.
If you played a 30 game NBA season,
like,
what?
Yeah, like
it's barely enough time to play.
Exactly. Yeah, like it would at that point. It's like, do you even play? I mean, it would suck to like just not have a season. But to not.
Breaking news: Larry Allen has died at 52.
No. Oh, rest in peace. That's a shame. Hall of Fame offensive lineman. So rest in peace to Larry Allen. Thank you, RedBox, for breaking that news on TalkSport to Jake. Rest in peace to Larry Allen.
Wow, I'm curious to find what how that happened.
Yes, that's
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Big dudes don't always live that long.
Unfortunately, yeah.
52.
I mean, he was really big, dude.
Yeah, he was a big guard. Some of those guards are huge.
That offense, Dallas Cowboys of the '90s to me is the greatest football team I ever saw. And their offense might have been their best.
Oh yeah.
weapon. I mean, that's how Aikman stayed protected and Emmitt Smith rushed for all those yards.
Exactly.
No, well, I agree 100%. I mean, that's doesn't get much better than that.
Wow. Rest in peace to Larry Allen.
Jake, are you a soccer fan? Did you watch a Champions League final on Saturday?
I did not into soccer by any means, but I saw somebody won. I saw. I saw.
I mean, at least there were goals. Just every one of them.
The final between City and United was much more.
Okay, yeah, that was epic.
Well, not only did we have an upset, but
I was disappointed with Dortmund because it always seems like the same story. Like they create chances, but they don't finish them.
From what I've heard, Arsenal soccer fans really annoying.
I am an Arsenal fan.
Oh, is that? Do you think your fans are annoying at all, RedBox? That's what I've heard. I don't have a horse in the race, and I don't follow the sport at all. That's what I've heard.
Any more than the other fans in European football. I mean, we're pretty tame compared to some of the ultras. And
I've heard them, and like Manchester City or Manchester United. I forgot which one. Or
United. Oh no, United fans. If there's any, are the most annoying in the Premier League.
Well, I'm going to tell you the most annoying fans going on right now, and I think Jake. So I'm going to be rooting hard for the Celtics because I'm getting a little tired of the John Doncic fans trying to.
I gotta be honest. I've never been a fan of Luka, to be honest, but he's had a great year and he's had a great postseason.
No, his MVP last year was ridiculous.
Well, he didn't win MVP.
Yeah, he was.
He never won MVP,
yeah.
But I mean. Like, he didn't actually. I mean, he had a great Western Conference Finals. I just don't know. We'll see if he can replicate it in the finals. I've never liked Luka. I've always thought he's overrated. He might prove that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He did the Western Conference Finals, but just his fans come out of the woodwork. He was silent last year when the Mavs didn't even make the playoffs. Now they're like calling him better than Larry Bird. It's like, come on, get out of here. Yeah, it's like every single time he has a good playoff series, they start saying, "Oh, he's going to be the face of the league. He's going to be all-time great player." They're comparing him, like you said, to Larry Bird. They're comparing him to this guy and that guy. And then when he loses, we don't hear anything. So his fans are a little bit annoying. And, the comparisons to some of the 10 greatest players ever are only a stretch.
Yeah.
But I will never, ever, as long as I'm breathing, root for Boston in anything.
I mean, Luka is not even the best player in the league right now.
No.
I mean, that's Jokic, and then I'd say it's a race for second between Luka and SGA, maybe.
No, well,
I would not put. Yeah, Giannis has got to be up there. I would not put Luka even in the top 5. If he wins a championship, we can have a conversation. But I've never done a top 5 NBA player ranking since he's been in the league, and even considered him for even the 5th best player in the league. I know it's hard, and I don't care, to be honest. I don't give a flying crap. I have never considered him a top 5 player in the league. Top 10, absolutely. Have I ever considered him to be top 5 in the league? No.
Top 5 right now. Who would you place above him?
Right now, I mean, he's probably top 5, but up until this point, I have never had him in the top 5, and I haven't even thought.
Because that to me is a big question. There's plenty.
I don't know if he could be top.
There's an argument for him to be on first team. I don't think that's.
Or any team. I don't think it was any. He wasn't. That was a travesty.
Yeah, that he should have at least been on the third team. I thought he should have been on the second team, honestly.
I mean, the first team was pretty uncontroversial in the eyes of most people. It's the second and third teams that were interesting.
Yeah, like having Kawhi on the second team, like, and then you like even if you,
Not even qualified, to be honest.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
Played a lot in the playoffs.
Load management during the playoffs.
Yeah, you're saving it for the playoffs.
Even when he's load managed, he missed playoff games, so I
Yeah.
don't think it mattered.
It's not like it works anyway.
May as well just exhaust them out during the regular season.
Just pray.
What are you gonna do? Why? You're gonna not be enjoying this game.
Yeah, it's not my favorite because I can't stand Boston. I don't like Luka. I cannot stand Kyrie, though he has matured a lot this year, but I still can't get the taste. People forget just how much of a just disgusting asshole this guy was. I've lost count how many rants and how many just horrible things I've said about him. None of which I regret by any means over the last few years. So but he's had a great year. He stayed out of trouble. He has, he's been a lot more humble this year. He seems like he has matured, at least for this year. He stayed healthy. And I am rooting for Dallas. Am I rooting for Luka and Kyrie specifically? Not really, but they have played great, And I don't have a problem with Luka as a guy, although he is an absolute crybaby on the court. There are times I want to punch him in the face when he's on the court, but as a dude, I think he's a fine dude. Kyrie, not so much, but he's been dead this year. But yeah, it's not the finals I was hoping for, to say the least.
Yeah, I really wanted Minnesota to get to the finals because
that would have been the best case scenario for the league, honestly, to have Anthony Edwards in the finals.
They thought they won the playoffs after beating Denver.
Yeah,
and
they definitely looked past Dallas.
Jake and I were just commenting on how unexciting I thought the NBA playoffs had been in comparison to the NHL.
Every hockey fan says that.
Because it's true.
I mean, the NHL playoffs I do find their playoffs be more exciting than the NBA.
The NHL, and it would still be a 100% true statement.
I mean, I will say that there seem to be more blowouts in the playoffs, but there's a lot of blowouts now in the regular season. I just think with modern basketball, there's more possessions and teams just. If your defense becomes offense, and so if your defense starts sucking, then
the NBA regular season, it's almost hard to watch it now. There's no defense. There's very little defense. Look at the numbers. Like Golden State, when they had that crazy team, their offensive rating, which led the league, with like the worst or below average this year. Like, it's crazy how little defense is played. And to be honest, the best teams that are winning championships every year are the teams that play defense. So clearly you need to.
You're throwing two guys on there,
And look, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But they've surrounded them with good defenders, so maybe they found the balance.
Yeah, it's weird. They've actually, as a team, have played solid defensively in the postseason, and they weren't doing that in the regular season, which is why they were a 5 seed and not, a 1, 2, or 3 seed or whatever. But they've played better defensively in the playoffs. I don't know if they just flipped the switch, something Jason Kidd said or did in practice, but it's weird how they just were able to flip a switch like that.
I mean, it does help with Luka's bombing 3-pointers. You can set up your defense.
That's true. if he's giving you 35, Carter's giving you 30, and you have role players also chipping in, realistically, if you keep them under 110 points, you're okay. That does make things easier.
Because it's hard to score in the half court. And
so,
like Minnesota, when they were getting stops, they were also scoring. But once they stopped getting stops and turnovers, then they weren't scoring. And that's why you get blown out.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping this is a exciting finals, but I'm hoping Dallas wins. But Boston has a lot of firepower, and you know,
As a Toronto fan, I could never cheer for a bar. Aside from the Red Sox, I'm a Red
Right.
Sox, which I mean, most people don't understand. I understand why. But aside from the Red Sox, I couldn't cheer for never the Celtics, and certainly never the Bruins.
Right. You're probably rooting for Edmonton, right? Just for Canada.
Well, of course, yeah.
Mhm.
When was the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
Well,
Vancouver.
If you count this part of Canada, Montreal.
I mean, did Vancouver win?
Themselves another country now, so you know.
Vancouver won like in 2012, I thought, or something, or maybe they did. I know Vancouver got there.
They lost in Game 7 and then set the city on fire.
Oh yeah! Wow. All right, so yeah, so if they didn't get one, then it was you got to go back to I guess Montreal in '93. Yeah, I know, right? It's wild.
That about coincides with the Bettman era, which surprise.
Are you saying that the commissioner is conspiring against Canadian hockey? Wait, RedBox, are you saying the commissioner of hockey is conspiring against Canadian hockey teams? What? How? Where's the evidence for that? I think you just cut out. RedBox, I think you cut out. Well, we hope we get him back. We're on Talk Sport to Jake. RedBox is accusing the commissioner of the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman, that he is conspiring against this Canada as a hockey city. Apparently, think one of us is having some technical problem. I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's on his end because
to divert
there we go.
Resources that largely come from Canada to building the games in states like Florida and Texas and California and Vegas for obvious reasons.
Yeah. So RedBox cut out again, but so apparently he's saying like that Bettman cut the resources to the country of Canada, which isn't the worst point that I've ever heard because the United States definitely has more resources when it comes to Canada, at least when it comes to young hockey players. That's why it's even though it's something that started in Canada and obviously Canada hockey is a sport in Canada. That's why it still is being able to grow very popular in the United States because of the resources that we have. But I mean, I don't know if the commissioner is conspiring against Canada. I don't know why he wouldn't want a Canadian team to be good. The Canadians, of course, were great for all those years. A long time ago, the Oilers, of course, had the greatest run maybe ever in the history of the sport with Messier and Gretzky and all those guys. But but I must think it's not a big enough market. But like hockey and Canada go freaking hand in hand. I'm just gonna wait for somebody's having some test problem. I'm not sure if it's on my end or on RedBox end. I'm actually in one of the classrooms in Martyr here, so I can't get into the studio. What's up, No Punts? And RedBox is gonna rejoin.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you lose me? Because I want to finish that rant where you can hear me.
Honestly, you started to cut out right when I asked you what your evidence was, and then I heard a part of it about like the resources, but that's all I really got.
He's trying to divert the majority of the league's resources to building the game in the southern states and California and Florida. And of course, he's expanded into Vegas. Seattle was a surprisingly good move. I like that. But you know what? They're going to draw from British Columbia. A lot of their fans are going to come over from the Vancouver Metro. And also, Seattle's a decent hockey city. They've supported a junior team for years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would say we haven't. Is Bettman like fixing?
I think you cut out again. There it goes. Oh, okay.
Is Bettman fixing games against Canadians? No. Is he anti-Canadian hockey? Absolutely.
Really?
I mean, there's incentive. Obviously, the TV contracts in the U.S. or the broadcasters would rather U.S.
contracts until last year. They barely got any national exposure.
Look, I mean, you can't. Any
I mean, they have contract with ESPN and TNT.
Oh yeah, I mean NBC absolutely bundled the rights that they had for years. They showed one game a week on national TV. Now at least they're getting one every night or two on national TV down there now with the TNT ESPN deal, which I think was a great deal, by the way. But that's only absolutely like as of like 2 years ago. Up until then, he's been trying largely in vain to push hockey into these places, and where they have been successful, they've been propped up by snowbirds and traveling Canadian fans. I went to Tampa Bay. I went to Tampa 5-6 years ago to see the Leafs play at Amalie Arena, and it was like half Leafs fans.
I will say, I went to a Rangers Lightning game a couple of years ago. There was a good amount of Ranger fans there. That's because there are a lot of New Yorkers in Tampa, because a lot of New Yorkers have been trying to get out of New York and going to Florida. And my dad lives down there in Tampa, so there is a lot of New Yorkers in Tampa. So I see what you're saying, like how go down to Tampa, Florida, you go to a Tampa game, and a lot of the fans are from they might be New Yorkers, they might be from Canada, they might the stadium isn't exactly jam packed with Tampa Bay Lightning's fans. There isn't going down to Florida, you're gonna get a lot of people who aren't, born and raised in Florida. You're gonna get, the snowbirds, in the wintertime, that they live
Arizona. I mean, they're not even in Arizona anymore. They moved to Utah, which, by the way, I think that was a great move.
I do too. I know that's a good spot for them. As long as it's not in freaking Arizona, then they need to get out of Arizona.
Why did that plan to potentially put an NHL team in between Toronto and Windsor in a market where they would have access to millions of people? They could draw from the Toronto area. They could draw from.
I'm sure the Maple Leafs would want that.
It would be good. It would.
Remember, the owners owe the commissioner too.
It would be better than putting a team in Vegas.
I think.
I mean,
the thing after the Panthers beat the Bruins, he's like, I don't even know where you play in Florida. It's true, like
Exactly.
They play in Sunrise, I think. That's funny.
The opinion here in the state because they benefited from what Bettman is doing, but I'd say there is an active effort to pull the largely Canadian resources of the league. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
I mean, clearly, when they took Quebec out of it, or who became the Avalanche, that's when it all really started going bad. Or when Winnipeg moved to Phoenix, that was in the mid-90s,
Well, and of course, Winnipeg, the only reason Winnipeg moved back is because, not moved back. The only reason they got a team once again in Winnipeg is because it would have been criminal for them not to put them back there with the interest that was shown.
Does Calgary still have a team?
Yeah.
Yes.
But Quebec's the only Canadian city that lost a team and hasn't gotten one back.
I mean, in the modern era,
Yeah.
in the modern era, in other eras, there's been others, but yeah, I mean, Quebec. But like, why don't they try? And there are 3 teams within spitting distance of each other in New York, and the Islanders, I would say, in terms of fans, are probably on life support.
I mean, their team is every year is just so many. Yeah, they got in the ring a couple years ago. Yeah, UBS.
I mean, they're the inferior of the 3 teams in terms of support for sure in the region, I would say.
I mean, the Sabres haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years.
Team in, I don't know, why not put a team in Hamilton or put a team? But I know that sounds crazy because Hamilton's like a smaller city. But why not put a team there or put a team just north or west of there?
I mean, look, Peter Angelos didn't even want a baseball team in Washington, D.C. So, like, these owners do not like competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the problem. You've got to overcome that, I think, because instead of trying to put hockey where it's not going to do well, which I think he's starting to see that now with Seattle, with Arizona going to Utah. I think he's starting to kind of come around maybe after 30 years, go figure. Let's just expand it, but also you got to remember where it came from. You got to remember where the people who already watch it are, and Bettman has not done that, and I think maybe is only starting to do that more now because he realizes, hey, this pet project of mine maybe hasn't had the results that I said it was going to.
It's kind of similar to NASCAR. I think they overexpanded trying to enter new markets, and then they lost some of their base.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Bettman meant well with the expansion. He obviously, we got the Vegas team 7 years ago. We got the Seattle team a couple of years ago. I know they're still looking to expand. I think he meant well. I don't hate him putting a team in Vegas. The
whole expansion project.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the NFL with London.
Exactly.
Anyone, no sane person could say that hasn't been successful.
Exactly.
There's the expansion can and does work. You look at, well, you guys aren't going to know about this, but the expansion of professional darts into North America is going absolutely amazing right now.
Professional darts, wow.
Oh yeah. You look at even all the new soccer leagues that are springing up around North America. There's problems with them.
Well, a lot of that's immigration. Like here in the Northwest, all of a sudden I see rugby and cricket are getting popular. And most of that is just people coming from where, like, either they come from places that like those sports, especially like India. They like cricket a lot. And so they're starting to create cricket here.
Sure, absolutely. And do that. I mean, if you've got the market for it, I don't see a reason not to. But like we see the new Canadian Premier League, it's got a long way to go, and it's not even to the quality of the 3rd division in the States, I would say. Maybe the 3rd division.
Premier League of what? Soccer?
The Canadian Premier League, yeah, it's a new thing. It's largely, I mean, they really came out swinging. They had deals with Fox, and they even had a deal with TNT in the US or the UK, which if you know anything about broadcasting, that's pretty huge.
But it's just another soccer league like MLS.
Yeah, and they said it was going to be. I mean, for now, I think if they give it time, it could be something. But if they kind of presented it as the next great league to develop, the next great Canadian soccer star, and we haven't seen that yet, but it's also only been. So, give it time. Against forcing them where they clearly won't work. And I think you've got to kind of look into why they're trying to do that. And I mean, again, Vegas, anyone with even the most basic understanding of American culture can understand why Vegas. You don't even have.
It's successful.
I mean, it has, but that's because it's all better.
Yeah,
It's a money pit. It's sports betting, and I mean, sports betting has absolutely taken over the league. You watch any broadcast, at least in Canada, for 5 minutes, you'll see at least one betting ad on sport, and they incorporate them right into the games. Which, like, okay, I mean, at least they're not taking up half the commercial breaks to it. I suppose that's better.
I actually have a zigzag on sports gambling. I know it's proliferating, but I actually think it's going to plateau and peak out because eventually people get tired of losing money.
No.
Yeah.
That's like when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense.
Everyone was playing online poker, and then a year later, only the good people were playing online poker. People eventually figured out you can't.
I played online poker 3 years ago. I love playing online poker.
I know. Yeah, but I'm talking in about 2001, 2002. It was everywhere. Everyone was playing.
Well,
That's when they started airing.
And people were like, "Oh wait, I could lose my life savings doing this. Maybe this isn't a good idea."
Now selling less marijuana this year than they did last year. So it's like, yeah, it went up, but eventually you reach a point of saturation. Like you expand into all the markets.
You do, but then, I mean, you could look at the online poker. You could look at online poker. Could you not say that that market transferred into sports betting?
It's possible. Well, I mean, it was really big. I just think there's a certain law of diminishing return. Like there is a limit. Like everyone has their limit. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have your degenerate gambler, no doubt about it. But is it gonna be like I don't gamble on sports because I've gambled before and I realize you're not gonna win. And if you do win, you're gonna spend your winnings on gambling more. And he puts
they're out there.
He puts so much time into it. It's crazy.
Exactly, and emotional energy, and it just overwhelms your life.
Yeah.
You can't enjoy a night out on friends because you're watching, your phone to see your results.
And you know what? Honestly, if you can make a living doing that, I've got a certain amount of respect for somebody.
Oh yeah, like more power to you. But like here, well, let me ask you, No Punts, do you have an idea when you think it'll plateau or peak out? Do you have any idea on that? Okay.
The market's going to get saturated. And there's going to be so much competition for gambling. There's going to be always that group of people that will do it no matter what. They were doing it even when it was illegal. There's going to be people that, never do it no matter what. Like they just don't like sports. That's not the, but there's just going to be people who get tired of it. The novelty's going to wear off. That's just, and I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's going to be a. I'm not concerned about it overtaking. I don't think you can't sustain that growth.
Yeah, I think eventually people realize they're losing too much money.
I don't think it will ever go away, though, and I think
it never will. No,
I don't think it will ever be less prominent again in sports and sports broadcasting. Maybe the use of sports betting sites will go down slightly. Even that, I have doubts. But I think it is here to stay in terms of.
Oh, it's never going away. That's for sure.
I mean, I'm not as bothered by it as some, but I certainly understand why those some are. You know?
I get a little annoyed, now that I just want to go on ESPN and see scores. I don't need a whole bunch of information about the over under and
Yes. Oh, thank you, No Punts. Yeah, that irks me.
If you really want to, you can turn it off.
Can you? Oh, I mean, ESPN is going all in on their own.
Can you do it without paying for it though?
The one I use, you can. I don't know about every other app.
I mean, I'm not even talking advertising. I'm just saying, I want to go to see the scores.
Yeah.
I just want to scroll and see scores. Yeah. I don't need all this dumb information about their.
Well, yeah, ESPN. I mean, ESPN also they just launched their own service, so ESPN Bet or something. I know because my friend tried it. And apparently, it was pretty good. But I think any good app where you go to look at scores, it should already does now or will in the future give the option to turn off odds in the list of games. Because I think people. I mean, I wouldn't put it front and center, but if you can go into the settings and you're willing to dig around a little bit, I think there should be the ability to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
Alright,
flatten out.
Match with me. So
All right.
He's down a break in the third set, and it's a set apiece. So.
Oh, I might watch that. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I gotta take care of something. Good chatting on this Monday morning. Great show.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, come back anytime. Yep, but thank you, RedBox. Thank you, No Punts, for joining me. You guys are welcome anytime. That was a lot of fun. I will be back tomorrow. We'll talk a whole bunch of stuff. But until next time, so long. Have a good day.